You are listening to NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army. Live daily on the website, on YouTube, on the DAB, and on every online radio directory. NUFC Talk, the voice of the Toon Army.
Hey, good morning, you good people in YouTube land and, of course, on DAB Radio all over the Northeast. Welcome to the show all about Eddie's press conference. We've got Supermark Ian back with us today, fresh from his holiday in Venice.
Fresh. So fresh that I got back from the airport at 4 a.m. today. So
Whoa, wow.
I'm on 3 hours kit. So, it's all right. It was all right.
Well,
Venice is lovely.
Well, as we were talking about in the green room, we haven't seen you since before the Man City game.
That's
so
right.
Before we get onto the presser, what are your thoughts on the two games that you've been away for?
Look, I was trying to see what Guardiola did. It was a bit like that Liverpool match, and it was so good in that Man City Cup game for the first 20 minutes, and then they kept the ball off us, which was we were bossed in the second half. Initially, I was disappointed at the team selection, but I guess they were being saved for the Barcelona game, and if Eddie was prioritising that, fair enough. The FA Cup's on again next year. You never know when you're next in the Champions League. So, and it was the right call. What a great performance against Barcelona! Like everybody, even watching from my laptop on my knee in my hotel room in Venice,
I didn't find a bar.
Well, they don't do it. Not in Venice. They just don't do it.
Not really.
There was no Italian teams playing. I think if it was the Milan derby, which I think was on the night after or the night before, I can't remember. I walked around in Venice a lot. Couldn't find a bar showing any telly. I know there are the odd Irish bar which I could have tried, but it was.
Oh, well, that's what I suggested. The only place you ever see them in Italy, unless it's Italian football, the only place you ever see them is.
On Monday, the Irish bar was full of Italian rugby fans, and as an Englishman, I didn't really want to go and have a pint with them. So no, it was good. It was good. Once you've twigged that you can get a pass to jump on the little river buses for €25 a day and visit everywhere for next and out, then rather than fight the Americans and the fat Germans and on the Rialto, then you can really enjoy Venice. It's like a war if you get into one or two of the streets there. My word. But no, it's good to be back.
Hello, Gary. I've never visited. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but as always on the presser days, it's hectic. First thing on a morning, getting children and a car for service first thing this morning. Crikey, I was there before the garage opened. Threw me keys through the letterbox. A little love note to say, treat her nice, as I walked away from my beloved Audi. How are we on the eve of the Chelsea game? Welcome all our listeners out there across DAB and also those that have joined us here on YouTube. So again, if you can, just help us along with the three things that we ask you of. Subscribe, hit the bell, and if you haven't already, become a member. Where you been? It's a great show. It's a great platform for all things Newcastle United. Have you got your bingo cards ready then, gentlemen?
I think it might be a different call for Miley, though. I think it might be a different call for Miley from what I do from reading. He's training with them. Maybe not the Chelsea game. Probably on the bench to watch on the Chelsea game. And then, we might see a little bit of a cameo away at Barcelona next week. Fingers crossed. He's my favourite player.
Ooh,
he's like a grandson to me.
Oh, bless you. For me, is that more of a risk? You're throwing him against Barca cold from the physio's table. Would you not think it would be wise to give him at least 20 minutes versus Chelsea at Stamford Bridge?
He might be sitting on the bench. They might bring him on. It depends. This is a bit of a weird game, isn't it? I really, really want them to go for it. Chelsea might be a bit,
off the gas for
still stunned
PSG.
by getting stuck off PSG the way they did. But it does feel a little bit like the Man City Cup game in that this is one that we probably will be protecting one or two players because they've got a big game against Barcelona midweek, haven't they? Really, a game that
it's a massive
continues
thing.
our season or doesn't.
Yeah, that's the thing now. I like to say, if they have put all the eggs, as we were talking in last night's show, and those that haven't had a chance to watch it, go and have a look, because I did throw a couple of curveballs yesterday when it come to Newcastle's season. Seems to me very financially driven this season by our CEO, David Hopkinson. And you know, and again, I don't want to come across as if it's something that I just have a feeling that money talks these days. And with where he's come out and made lots of conversation where we want to be in 2030, the way we get there is only going to be through the finances, being able to get more closer to those top 5 or 6 teams that seem to be just buying everything and anything throughout, any one season. We hear a lot of Liverpool fans saying, we didn't buy anything for 3 seasons. Then we went out and spent umpteen millions on a couple of players. And I understand that. But when you've got a side set up already that have won the leagues under Klopp on multiple occasions, you can afford to do so. When you haven't got that financial clout, and again, you look at, we were trying to discuss against the Manchester City team that knocked us out of the FA Cup in the 5th round. They made 10 changes, and we said how many players would get into Newcastle's side, or how many of our team would actually get into the Manchester City side. And I think you'd be struggling to count past 4, if I'm honest with you.
Well, if you're talking about Man City specifically, I think you're really struggling to get past 2.
Well, I'm saying squad.
It was a hell of a reserve deal. Quite clever, I thought, by Guardiola to pick that team for the cup match.
Absolutely.
Because all of those players want a chance in the big games, in the Champions League games. So it didn't pick anybody who might have felt like they could coast that one before they played at Real Madrid.
No, exactly.
Which was really quite clever. Because to be fair, watching the first choice team against Real Madrid, they didn't look very good that night. 3 down at half time.
No.
There's
a lot of criticism towards Mamardashvili when he pulled his arm away. They're asking him now if there was some type of match fixing going on. And again, this is how fickle we are, isn't it? As fans these days, you see something. The keepers now are very prone to players diving if they go with an outstretched hand. I mean, obviously, Mamardashvili tried to close the space down and he pulled his arm away from the ball being took past him. And now he's been accused of match fixing. I mean, where do you stand?
That was Liverpool, and that's because the Galatasaray, obviously, he's Turkish. And I'm wondering, it would still be match fixing, but I'm just wondering if there's been any threats or anything to his family or whatever,
Who was Turkish? Mamardashvili's not Turkish. He's Georgian.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I thought Mamardashvili was Jordan.
Oh, I thought he was Turkish.
No, I was trying to scratch my head.
They all look the same, Wayne. Don't worry, they all look the same.
From a mile away. Anyway, we are coming to about the 15-minute mark before the presser starts. Go on.
We are. I'm going to have to shoot off, lads. I've got this appointment.
Okay, mate. No problem. Have a good one. Ta-ra. Have a nice one. Thanks for stepping in. Like I say, the mighty win. Getting me out of jail.
Appointment, so we'll probably get Win back. He can come and talk about the presser that he hasn't got time to watch.
Well, I mean, he's always got time to watch. He's got a third ear somewhere around the back of his head. I mean, he's always involved. Bless him. Ian, what was I haven't spoken to you post the Barca game. Like I say, I know you were away having some rekindled relationship in Venice. I was listening to you there. Yeah, exactly. If you can't do it there, where can you do it? Is what they say. What did you think of the game, mate?
I thought they were terrific. I mean, the first game, which we lost 2-1, we were all talking about, if only we'd taken those goals in the first half, it would have been a different match. But again, we were bossed by Barcelona for large parts of that second half, because the midfield just took control. Didn't take control last week. I thought Ramsey was wonderful alongside Denali. Joe Linton was a beast. That was way ahead of anything I've ever seen from Alanga in a game as well. I was really encouraged by that performance. Beating his fullback and putting some really good crosses in. So some of this cash that we've got tied up in assets that aren't producing for us, and therefore we've wasted our 250 million, may well actually be starting to come good. I mean, it's a repeated theme, isn't it? That our signings do take quite a while to bed in and find to get Eddie Howe fit to be able to play the Eddie Howe way. So maybe we're seeing that, and I'm quite buoyed. I'm hoping we can get something out of Chelsea, because Bruno and Shah apparently are only a few weeks away. Miley's going to come back into it. Tino's there now. If we've got 4 or 5 more to choose from for these last 8 or 9 league games, who knows what we can put together? We're almost writing off whether we can qualify for Europe, but I think it's right down to 8th place. Now it's a Man City Arsenal Carabao Cup match. The winners of that aren't going to pinch the Conference League place.
No,
Fingers crossed we'll get one of the Champions League guys winning the FA Cup as well. So it'll go right down to 8th. And we're not that far off 8th. To be honest,
no,
we're not
well,
that far off 6th.
no, you're right. Again, though, we've got this. Like we were talking yesterday, and I said that was my prediction, 8th, back in January. When you look at the way Newcastle have performed this season, it hasn't really blown your frock up in certain games, but it has in others, especially when it comes to Champions League football. It seems as if we've got the old Wurzel Gummidge type of team where the heads just get switched and they become a bit of a formidable force, if I'm honest with you. And again, just dropping a couple of silly points through mistakes. Again, Marseille. But apart from that, there isn't really a lot we've done wrong in the Champions League.
No.
And like I say, the other conversation was 46 games throughout one season, potentially going up to in and around the 60 game mark if all things pan out and you go a little bit further within the Champions League. Now, obviously, you're out of both domestic cups. But there was a discussion yesterday about how the 46 game season at the beginning of March affects the team, and it's one of those double-edged swords, isn't it? One fans are saying it's a complementary situation because obviously you're competing across all of the competitions that are there, apart from the Premier League, which is your bread and butter. And others people are saying, the problem with doing so with a very thin squad gets you obviously into a lot of problems because your fatigue, your mindset is changing, as we've seen within the Premier League performances. It's up 1 minute, it's down the next. We are very much a yo-yo team. But for me, Boki says that it's a failure, a total failure this season. But if you just wear the Premier League glasses, I can only assume he's correct. But if you were to look at it from outside as a whole, and like I say, I'm the only Newcastle fan within 50 miles of me, and a lot of people around me are Villa, Coventry, and the usual Midland supporters. They're all saying to me that it's a great season because you're competing. You're nowhere near financially big enough to compete with the big boys, but you're there. So Is that true? Is it a failure, or have Newcastle actually turned a corner?
I think it's disappointing rather than it being a failure. Does that make sense? I think we've shot ahead on a rocket. Year one, year two, year three was an excuse, wasn't it, because of all of the Champions League games. I think this season it's a little bit of a slowdown in our growth. I've always said, though, having bought all those players, we have a much deeper squad now. You know, particularly looking at midfield. Bruno's out. I know Bruno would make a big difference in any of these games that we've played, but
Mm.
we're not sitting there thinking if Bruno doesn't play, we're just going to get beaten anymore because, you know, we've competed well against Barcelona for a draw, against PSG away for a draw. We've beaten Manchester United, and Bruno's not been there. So uh, we've got a deeper squad. Um, whether it's whether Wissa and Voltemade are going to prove that they're worth 120 million or not, I'm not sure. I think Ramsey's a great buy. I think Chow's a great buy. I'm hoping that we see more of the Alanga that turned up for most of that game against Barcelona uh, in the future. I mean, I don't think they're side by side 50-50 whether you pick him or Murphy on that performance. So if we've deepened the squad, we've got through to the semi-final of a cup. We're into the knockout stage of the Champions League. I mean, you know, sitting watching Rafa's team or Steve Bruce's team, we wouldn't have classed that as any sort of failed season. And we've had our moments in the Premier League. You know, that game against Liverpool was wonderful.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Even though we lost, we beaten Manchester City at home. We've we played really well and won at Tottenham, as everybody does. But you know, it's typical of Newcastle. It's typical of Newcastle to not be the team that can go and win at Tottenham. But we did play very well that game as well. So, but there is still. What have we got left now? I've lost count a little bit. Are there 10 games left?
Nine games.
9 games left. So there's 9 games left. There's the last quarter of a season. So let's not write it off completely because if we can bang 7 or 8 wins out of these 9 games, things will look a lot different if we are counting up the goal differences to see if we can get fifth or sixth.
Yeah, another
And
27
those,
points. If you
yeah,
look at it from mathematics
absolutely,
type of side.
absolutely. So, you
So
know, and as I say, I feel like our squad is about to get shots in the arm as we grow into April with with returning players coming back. So why not? Why not get build a bit of momentum, and it can start away at Chelsea, I think.
yeah, exactly.
Even if
It's a
he,
6-pointer for me. This one.
well, I'm not sure we'll catch Chelsea, but I think Chelsea are a position where we could go after them. I know he's going to want to rest players, but I don't think Gordon needs a rest because he had a rest on Wednesday.
Yeah, it depends on how he's feeling, though. If
It
this,
does.
pseudo illness is what people have been saying. Because if he was that bad, as we've seen with Voltemade and
Yeah.
the likes that have had this lurgy hanging around them, they've certainly not been involved in the squad. So again, was that more risk than judgment? We don't know. We're going to have a quick look at what the people are saying out there in Viewerland. We've got another 5 minutes or so before Eddie joins us. So let's have a quick look at what that people are saying. So Gavin, he's saying the only way we can compete is by getting UCL every year, because if you are a yo-yo UCL, you can't commit to wages and quality players want to be in every year. I couldn't understand that. But again,
No,
our Newcastle.
that Gary is that's a black and white vision
Yeah,
of that. The thing is,
yeah,
you can make Champions League, drop to Europa League, back to the Champions League. What we need is better sponsorship. We need a training ground sponsor. I mean, they're going to build a new stadium. They could have a sponsor for the new stadium in place years before it's
years
finished
before.
because
Absolutely.
people will always be referring to the new stadium as the Greg's St. James's Park or whatever. So there's opportunities to bump our income up, which allows us to pay bigger wages, allows us to commit to bigger wages in a way that these top 6 teams Man United haven't made Champions League for I don't know how many years it is, but they can still pay those wages because they've got the income. And it's not income from Champions League, certainly not from their league position either. It's because they have that income.
No
I think we've
European
got to
competition also means that you've got 80% of the threshold that you're making to spend on the squad cost ratio that's coming in next season.
Yeah, I think that helps us, doesn't it? Squad cost ratio.
No,
Rather than
it still puts us on the same keel or trajectory, whichever way you want to say it, as we were under the PSR ruling, because we're still not making financial gains on those above us. So they will always be able to spend a lot more because of their income.
Yeah, I meant in terms of wages. If can't remember how it works, but I think if are we allowed 70% or 80% of our
70% if we're in Europe, 80% if you're not. That's what I'm saying. Is this the way we are going?
70% of the turnover, if we get pushed up to 500,000, is 350 million, isn't it? And what's
exactly.
our wage bill is only 250 million.
Mm.
So with better sponsorship to push us up to 500, I don't know, we're 400 and something at the moment, I think.
That's what
that's
the estimate is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We are waiting to hear. Let's have a quick look at what Darren's saying. I see that we are linked with said El Mala and Kamin Kamara, two young players, if you pull it off to sign this summer to add youth to that midfield. Well, let's have a quick look with some of the stuff that has happened over the last 24 hours, because there's been some interesting names appear. I mean, obviously, Anthony Gordon now seems as though there's been some rumblings behind the scenes. He's unhappy, according to a report that I read first thing this morning, somewhere around about 6 o'clock this morning, and he could leave in the summer. And it looks like Arsenal, again, are looking at players to part X is the question mark, because obviously there has been some links with players coming the other way. Pierre Kalulu is another one that is being identified, if you like, as a player of interest. And this is according to Mark Bruce. No relation to Steve, obviously. He's identifying their pursuit of Juventus centre-back Pierre Kalulu. Asan Kedrago is another one from Red Bull. Again, he's got really strong interest from clubs like Manchester United and Chelsea for the RB Leipzig 19-year-old German international midfielder. Obviously, there's a lot of reports about where Tino's going. Obviously, there's a question mark now over Tino's, because we've heard Liverpool now could come in for Livramento because he's a versatile player. He could go right or left. Manchester United's another club. Chelsea are another club. And obviously, we already know about Manchester City. Now, there's Arsenal, who seem as though they could potentially take the hint because they have got the cash, apparently. Julian Ryerson from Bayern is another one that seems to be on the talking points from a lot of, again, they say serious interest, according to Football Insider, but I don't really trust Football Insider, if I'm honest with you. Taras Makavko is another one, a Ukrainian guy, defender, that apparently is being touted by several, including Newcastle. Anis Haj Musa is an Algerian winger for Feyenoord. Again, another person who's been looked at and scouted. Eljif Elmas, another one from Red Bull. He's another one that seems to be very keen, and scouts of Newcastle seem as though that this lad can do something. Said El Mala, there you go. There's the one that was spoken about in the chat, and that's according to Build. And there's clubs like Chelsea, Brighton are increasing their interest on that lad. And obviously, Tonali now is the big talking point, because Tonali has been linked with several Premier League clubs, as well as Real Madrid and Juventus. So it depends on the type of mentality of some of these players now. If Anthony Gordon doesn't want to play for Newcastle anymore, then, don't wait to the end of the season. Sandro Tonali the same. Tino Livramento the same. Get the money early and then go into the market. And the talk, we talked about yesterday Leandro Trossard is an interest one coming the other way, and that's why I think they're talking about Anthony Gordon going to Arsenal and Leandro Trossard coming the other way. I'm not really sure whether I would.
I would have Eze,
I would
have Eze come the other way.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And here we go. The lads are just coming in, so we're going to shut up and we're going to listen to what Eddie has to say. Just let me know, guys, that you guys can hear that okay without any issues. I don't know why there's no sound, guys, because we can hear it, and I don't know why we have no sound coming through the TV or radio. I apologise. Yeah, you want me to ad lib, Ian? We're going to have to try and ad lib.
Interesting there. Howe said that Gordon could have wanted to play against Barcelona, and it was his choice to leave him out. So he because he'd been ill on the morning. It's fair enough. He came on and played and looked all right. He didn't look knackered, so he'll be fine for Chelsea. Trained yesterday. Good point, Geordie Dan.
I mean, it is a shame that we can't. I don't know what's happened because I can hear it. I'm just going to have a quick look behind the scenes to make sure there's nothing that we haven't done wrong.
Is it the hand of Mighty Win who can do something with this?
Well, I'm just checking all of my tabs, making sure that I have got everything on. And according to... Right, see where... Try and get this sorted. I do apologise for everybody that is out there. Hopefully you can hear that. Anything on there now? Let me know. Because, like I say, I'm making some adjustments behind the scenes, but it doesn't seem as though I could hear everything. You see, that's the problem, and I just want to make sure you guys can eat it.
Yeah.
Note,
Improvising. It was just reflecting
no,
on a great performance against Chelsea at home, where we drew 2-2.
I have.
Threw away the 2-goal lead.
How about now? Still nothing. According to it, everybody's struggling, if I'm honest with you, and I don't know why. So again, I haven't really had chance to listen to any of this myself, so apologies to everybody. There is some problem with us linking through to the presser this morning.
Desperately trying to raise Derek. He's on the phone to the NHS, so we can't really do much.
He can't. Well, even like I say, even with Chris, it's Chris's domain really that does with this one. And again, we can't put the live link through because of the problems that we have with. And it's not copyright, but it's just with the club itself. They don't want us to get involved with that. So again, apologies for anything that's that not being heard out there. We've done everything we can our end. It just doesn't seem to be happening. Yeah, Graham Bell. Sorry, mate. He's going. Like I say, apologies to everybody that's out there because it's spoilt the morning, unfortunately. And like I say, I haven't really had a chance to listen to it myself because I'm trying to talk to you guys and listen at the same time.
Ad lib, Roger Cook.
He's talking about Anthony Gordon a lot in this presser. If I'm honest with you, it seems as though again there's a lot of talk in and around Anthony Gordon this part of the season.
Anthony Gordon nearly got laid out by Joe Linton for giving the ball away in the last minute against Barcelona, didn't he? It was a bit of a...
wasn't happy.
Yeah, that's probably why he's looking for his move in the summer. Joe Linton's told him if he does it again, he's going to knock 7 bells out of him.
Yeah, he's going to see him in the Tyne with concrete boots. I mean, listen, there was a lot of finger pointing towards Anthony Gordon in the Champions League because obviously he didn't do the professional thing and run through into the corner to try and waste a bit of time. He's got his own agenda, as it seems. So it's me, myself, and I versus Newcastle, isn't it?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't blame him for it. I was there thinking, go and get a second one because 2-0 is so much better to go to Barcelona with. So I didn't mind them going for that in the last minute, and I didn't blame Chow either. I don't know if you remember, Chow made an absolutely fantastic tackle just like that against Haaland, against Manchester City in that first game that we won 2-1, where he just timed it perfectly and took the ball off his toe, and Haaland fell over and he went. I think Olmo just moved the ball fractionally
mental
too
strength
for him
and patience, and commit to his development, and he's reaped the benefits from that day or that season.
Hear this now, then.
Well, I don't think we should do that. I don't know whether that was Wynne who's moved that across.
Well, I did send stuff across to Wynne in the hope that he could do something to help.
Yeah,
because he's set the studio up, hasn't he?
Yeah, but that's the problem, you see. We've got it set up now where we've got that link with that press side of things behind the scenes. But for some unknown reason...
when it went up.
Yeah, we've got sound, because obviously we're there. Yeah, but that's what I said. If we put him live on there, then we get pulled away from the live presser. So we have to be very, very careful where we go with this. And I do apologise for you guys out there in viewerland, because like I say, or listenerland, if you're on DAB, because the last thing you want to be doing is listening to me or Ian during the presser. He's talking at the minute about the new training ground and things like that. And he's just poo-pooed that massively.
Is the ray of sunshine Lee Ryder
Lee
to
Ryder,
ask
yeah.
something depressing?
So he's mentioning now about the Premier League hasn't gone to plan. We would have liked to have been more consistent, more performances, good performances in the Premier League. So the gaffer's not showing away from the poor form within the Premier League. He said it's all on him. This is something that he's trying to sort out, and he'll take that on the chin, and he'll try and improve that form going forward. Bruno's back on Monday in the Toon, and apparently he wants to go to Barcelona to support the lads when they obviously go to the new camp. So obviously he's keen to go out there and support the lads. So he seems to be in a good place, according to Eddie. And after the international break, they reckon he's going to be available for that.
He just needs to get fit a week earlier and play against Sunderland.
Yeah. Bruno, exactly.
Where Johan Wisser is now.
Yeah, exactly. Talking
ordering
about
Manjaro to lose a stone and a half.
So they say now he's fitter than any stage that he's been with us so far, but still making up for lost time. So no injury concerns. But when introduced, he's got to perform. That's the statement from Eddie Howe. And then Eddie Howe's just said, I have to pick what's best for the squad. So talking about European football now and securing it going forward. Eddie Howe said it's something that the club want, especially experiencing that type of football in European competitions. So it's certainly something that they're working towards. Won't give up until the very end, and that's all we can do. That's the words he said. Craig Hope on the scene now.
Yes, Darren, there is an update on Wisser fitness levels. He's just said he's fitter than he's ever been. No injury concerns whatsoever. But when he gets on the pitch, he's got to perform. So if he's not performing, then it'll be why Osula gets put on ahead of him. Lord knows we might even see Woltemade get a go at centre forward again. That would be a change,
exactly.
wouldn't it?
It would be a change. Talking about Louis Hall now, about obviously how good he's been from obviously not really getting involved early in his tenure at Newcastle, and obviously now he's reaping the rewards. But he's just said, we've got to look after him. We've got to make sure that this guy is, not going too far regarding injuries. And looks like Jason Tyndall is the one looking after him as well as the other defenders.
Ravin's just asking there why the Premier League wasn't the priority this season if they want to play in Europe. I think it was the priority. I just think they've had some really disappointing results.
It's been a gamble, mate, with some of the squads that he's put out and some of the movement within, the game management. I think it's failed, if I'm honest with you. There's no other way of putting it.
£250 million worth of misfiring, or £200 million worth of misfiring signings in the summer is why we've been so inconsistent. As I say, I'm hoping that Ramsey, Alanga are starting to show a little bit more consistency, and we can have a strong last quarter. And let's see where that takes us. Because those teams above us, they win, they lose. Even Liverpool, even Chelsea, Villa in particular, they're all dropping points. Let's
they are.
Put a great run together and see where it takes us.
We're talking about Anthony Gordon now and the ceiling that he's got. There's a lot of, like I say, there's a lot of talk about Anthony Gordon at the minute. He's talking about the scrutiny that Anthony Gordon faces because they said, he's a top player and you face that on a day-to-day basis. And obviously, if levels of his levels drop, and obviously people will always point a finger type of situation towards that player and the pressure, especially when you start playing at international levels, people start to try and, say, well, you could produce it in one area, but you can't produce it on a week-to-week basis. And he's saying that there's always things that he can improve, and they're working on with him on a day-to-day basis to get him, get him in that levels. But again, it's another thing, isn't it? When you're a player who's been asked and voiced to play in different positions, you have got to have a different attitude to it, and maybe the mentality side of it has also affected his game. I missed that. He's quite a...
Somebody's longevity.
Yeah. It's that Irish journo. He's like the whisperer. You can only hear what he's saying. Yeah, thanks, Harpel. From press conference to match commentary, I do it all. I try to, anyway. But it's hard to talk and listen. I must admit, that's something that I can't. I'd be crap on the TV when you've got the producer in your ear constantly. I'd be useless. He's talking now about conflict. And I'm not sure whether that...
Is it him and Tyndall he's talking about?
Again, I missed the actual quote from the whisperer, so... Yeah, maybe it is about Jason Tyndall, whether there's, Yeah, him and Tyndall, by the sounds of it. The married couple. Yeah, exactly. He's making a little bit of a joke. He's saying who does what. But obviously they are doing it. Now he's talking about Lewis Miley, which is an important part, whether he's returning. Surely another 2 weeks.
Tick my bingo card off.
Yeah, exactly.
On the grass.
Still not training with the first team, though. So that's whether he can get that. So feedback from the medical team, they have to be careful with this injury. So it's a more severe than obviously first thought. And it does make you wonder what information is being said to the rest of the crew. Again, I have to apologise for that. It is the end of the presser. It's been a bit of a dire one for you guys out there in listener land, and I can only apologise on behalf of NUFC Talk. I don't know what's happened there. There has been a gremlin of some description working behind the scenes that has just stopped the sound from coming from our end to your end, and it'll be something that we work on for the pleasure of listening to the dulcet tones of Eddie going forward. Usual presser, if I'm honest with you, nothing at all about Chelsea, which is incredibly frustrating when we've got them round the corner. And it is for me, it's a very important game. And when I look at this scenario, you got both clubs vying for that next stage in the Champions League. One has more pressure than the other, but two games of very importance. And for me, you would have thought there would have been a lot more conversations heading towards the Chelsea game than there actually was.
Conversations between whom?
Well, Journos and Eddie, because it was just
right.
about players, wasn't it? I mean, this is a big game. There's both teams have got a lot of pressure on them. Rafinha, obviously, he's got a bigger squad, but nothing of any stature when it comes to Chelsea. I mean, there was a couple of points that we can look at, if I'm honest with you. But nothing, like I say, mental challenges for this game that we need to try and get right. Chelsea is one of the toughest away games you can have, so we need to make sure we are focused on them, which is,
his mental challenge is focus on this Chelsea game. Don't just skip over it and be focused on the second game at Barcelona, which, of course, is a huge, huge game. This
Absolutely.
is huge first. That's the important thing. I think we go into this disappointed at the result, but buoyed by our performance against Barcelona. And Chelsea must be licking their wounds. Maybe they'll want to bounce back. Maybe he'll change the team and it'll be like all the second team players coming in and trying really hard to try and make their place for that second leg. But I don't know. I think that's a bit of a blow. I'm more happy to follow the form line that we drew at PSG and Chelsea lost 5-2, rather than the fact that they hammered Barcelona 3-0 in the group stages, and we only drew 1-1 with them. But to be fair, on a different night, could we have won 3-0 against Barcelona? I think we had the chances. I think Alanga did. I think their keeper made one or two good saves.
Yeah, I think
Why not?
I mean, to be fair, mate, I think we literally got them off the hook. And I mean, according to the rags over in Spain, they're saying if we were playing against a better side, this is Barca playing against a better side, we would have had a harder job to have recovered the goals against. But luckily, we only played against Newcastle. that was more or less what they were saying.
I know Eddie reads that just before they go out at the Nou Camp.
Well, I must admit, that would be, I think that would have been my mentality. I would have had that on black and white printed paper all over the dressing rooms in Barca. You're only Newcastle. So let's see what you can do at the Nou Camp. Ragster, you're absolutely right, mate. I mean, I'm not going to discuss it because I don't think it's value for money. But why would you talk about the war in a press conference? I mean, it's a tough thing to even go to. I mean, like I say, we know Fabian Schär was out in Dubai and had to go into a bunker, bless him. But I mean, it's poor. It really is poor for any journal to bring up information that's going on across the Middle East. So again, it's not something I want to discuss, and I don't think it should have ever been brought to the table. If I'm honest with you, at the press conference, because Eddie Howe just poo-pooed it, and I'm glad he did. Didn't want to talk about it, but again, it's typical from that type of journal. Seems to come out with some ridiculous phrases and questions. Obviously, Eddie Howe on Louis Saul. Louis Saul was smart piece of business, said Eddie. He had a tough first year. He had to really show mental strength and patience. He has reaped the benefits from grabbing his chance in the team. He's currently playing his best football, and he has a lot of ability. And he's trying to, like I say, concentrate on, where Louis Hall is. And for me, during the live commentary, I said, if this lad in a black and white shirt had got a bright orange shirt on, a luminous orange, or whatever colour it is, he would certainly be worth a few quid more. Yeah.
Peachy peach. Yeah. Hall was fantastic against Barcelona, wasn't he? He really had
amazing.
Yamal in his pocket, who should have been booked and therefore suspended, by the way, for that bloody forearm smash that he got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
This is
that's
one
where
thing we've got to. I think won Barcelona their point, or they got them their draw. The referee was just sort of like so biased on every decision. We had players booked. They didn't get any bookings. They should have had.
no.
They should have had Yamil
Several.
Lamal suspended. Is it Fermin Lopez? Is that the other one who should have been
Yeah,
booked, therefore suspended?
suspended.
And they're not. They're available. Um, I'm not sure what Tonali got his booking for. He was the first
Well,
one booked. Probably just.
really first offence as well. You know, a lot of we were talking, me and Michael, and we said, like, you know, I don't mind this referee playing on if he wants to play a little bit more of a physical game. It's something that's been missing from the game for a long time in my eyes. But then all of a sudden, you know, Tonali just puts a little bit of a tug on an arm, and then he's in the book, and you're like, what the heck? You know, how can you do that? It just didn't make any sense, to be fair. There is a report Chelsea will concentrate on our game as they are 5-2 down, according to Connor, and accept it. They are probably out and need to get top 4 or 5 to
They
get back
won't
into the
think they're
championship.
out. They beat PSG 3-0 in the Club World Cup, did they not?
They did.
Just last summer. They'll think they
Yeah.
can turn that around. Oh, here's Derek. Just in time
Yeah.
to be told there was no sound on the presser, Derek.
Yeah, I
No
actually
Eddie.
I curtailed me call. But there was nothing I could do behind the scenes here. I tried.
No, I tried everything, mate, to be fair. And like I say, listening, trying to concentrate on what was being said so we could ad lib a little bit. Reece James has agreed a new 6-year deal at Chelsea, by the way, which will keep him at the club until 2032. Like I said,
We'll
he's
guarantee
happy.
another 2 years of performances from him, won't it? Because the other 4
Yes,
years he'll be on
4
the
years.
treatment table.
Yeah, another Rolls Royce is always on the garage. Great player, though, to be fair. He is a good player.
No, superb.
Like I say, I mean, they have got some formidable individuals, Chelsea, on the day. But again, as we've seen, you know, we're talking about the way Newcastle need to approach this game yesterday. And Ian, what I was going to ask you was, you know, we talk about a very important game in midweek for both clubs. Surely Newcastle, knowing full well that Barcelona are a very possession-based club, Chelsea are very similar, especially at Stamford Bridge. They like to play the ball, caress the ball, and play through the channels. If Newcastle sit back and go into a deep block, we've seen how dangerous we look when it comes to that deep block. We don't really seem to take responsibility when we have too many bodies in the defence. It's always a case of, well, that's yours, you know, or that's yours. So they seem to leave it to one another to sort out. When we go back to our normal shape of this 4-3-3 fluid, it seems as though everybody seems to come on fire. I believe they need to take the game at Stamford Bridge the same as they did at St James's Park against Barca. And that's go on the press, go on the hunt for that ball, stop these talented players that like to caress the ball and play a little bit of football and get into them.
I concur.
Can they do that? Can they do that after a short turnover of games? Is that still in the locker? Does it need a bit of fresh legs? And again, you talk about the amount of players that we've got fresh of the standard of requirements. There's a lot to question. What is important?
I think that is how we've got to approach the game. We've got to get after them. I would hope Ramsey being suspended for that City game and Joe Linton was rested. They don't need they don't need another game off. They've had a week off, and then they've played against Barcelona. Yes, but then Chelsea and Barcelona, they're used to 3 games a week. I know when it's the 8th week in a row that you're doing it, you end up looking a bit tired. But I hope that Joe Linton and Ramsey can go again for sure. And Tonali just seems like the Duracell bunny, doesn't he? He goes every week. So why not? Let's get after them. Dan Burn was rested, was he not? And then came in. Did he have another rest and put Otman on? I'm not sure. Trips certainly doesn't look like he needs a rest. He seems to get better and better the more games he plays. I know he's on record as saying that he likes the rhythm of a regularly playing. He probably hates training now. He's nearly as old as you are, Win. But yeah, why not? Let's get after them. Let's score early. Let's really put the cat among the pigeons. I think Chelsea are really fragile. They're a young team, aren't they?
Well, he said a couple of
And I
things
think
about the
they're
Chelsea
quite.
game. He said there's mental challenges for this game we have to try and get right. There will be a lot of focus on the Barcelona game, but this game will be a very tough one. Playing them away from home in the Premier League is one of the toughest games we will have. And then he was reminded that our record at Stamford Bridge is abysmal, to which he said, believe it if you will, it has not played on my mind because I didn't know. That surprises me, said Eddie. There are a few grounds where our record has been indifferent, but that's something we are planning to change.
Yeah. You also talked, Iniesta has put in there, how mentioned that Joe Linton minutes needs to be managed due to many injuries this season. And again, he's right. We talk about J7 is great when it comes to teams that like possession-based football. And it seems to me as though Barcelona, Chelsea, Barcelona is the three games that you'd like to see. Well, Backhams are just spoilers. They're just chaotic, if I'm honest with you. I think you need a footballer rather than a killer, if you like, on the field against the Mackhams. But I mean, when you look at these three games back to back, these are the three that I would highlight for a spoiler. Somebody who's going to be in there and rough it up a little bit. And like I say, we know the likes of Caicedo that likes to rough it up as well. I think Enzo, Caicedo, we have got the player in the J7. It's whether he can do it three games back to back, like I say, managing minutes, as Iniesta says, maybe they do throw Woltemade in, but I think that's a massive risk. He looked a rabbit in headlights against Man City. And, you know, Chelsea like to play the ball through the lines, through the centre. They play that box midfield when the lads tuck in. I think that's a massive gamble.
I think J7, can
I think I prefer
continue.
Willock in midfield.
You would prefer Willock in midfield?
Instead of Woltemade, I mean. I put Willock in instead of Woltemade because, you know, he can carry the ball. I love how rugged Ramsey's looking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But
and he
can
mix it with them as well.
Surely the midfield's going to be Tonali, Ramsey, and J7, isn't it?
Well, that's what he was saying about managing minutes, though. I mean,
unless they're managing J7's minutes.
Yeah.
You want him for Barcelona. You want him for Sunderland. Can he go against Chelsea as well with his injuries? I mean, if he's fit, I think he can. He's gone half a season without
Wednesday he was
being injured.
You know, he was brilliant on Wednesday. I thought he was, Lewis Hall shaded man of the match, yes, but I thought J7 wasn't far behind.
Linton was close. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Let's take it a game at a time.
Well,
that's what we'll have to do.
Get all your meat on the grill.
We should have too much for Sunderland.
Well, that is the other thing. I mean, to be fair, there's a couple of things that I wanted to bring up because it was quite an interesting one. Because we talk about danger men, if you like. And Connor's just sent me this that I've actually already saved on my... and again, I do have to be careful because the last time I threw Connor under the bus because he sent me something and I put it up and there was his phone number for the world and his brother to look at. I bet he's had some dodgy calls, which I'm sure the lad's used to, if I'm honest. I'm only joking. So let's have a look at this. This is probably one for the mighty win, if I'm honest. I'm going to try and make it I can't. But there is a thing on here. Just going to put it up on screen. We'll discuss it. It's very hard for you to say. I can't get it any better, unfortunately. It's just the way it comes up. So this is the who's present repels opposition danger most often. So this is the engagements that reduce danger in the Premier League 25-26 season. And there's only one player from Newcastle. We're in the middle here on 3.5. Dan Burn, believe it or not, as being the one that's repelled the most engagements that reduce danger, according to Opta. And the Athletic reporting on that one. What's your thoughts on that then, Win?
To be honest, I couldn't see what it was.
Well, no, it was.
What was the headline? What was the actual graphic?
The graphic was whose presence repels opposition danger most often, and they've got Kamara from Aston Villa
in
at the top.
terms of tackles and interceptions.
Yeah,
then.
Engagements. Yeah, exactly. So it's per 30 minutes out of possession and a minimum of 10 games played. So again, he sits happily in the middle, just behind Rodri. Sorry, on the same as Rodri and Andre of Wolves, Senesi of Bournemouth, who Newcastle have been linked with, Apollinia at Spurs at 3.5. Then the guys above him, Arias, Casemiro, Florentino, Gomez, Cuenca. It looks like a lot of Wolves players in and amongst there. But again, you look at
they've had more repelling.
I'm going to say, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know, Cuenca from Fulham, Romero from Spurs. He's second on the list. And like I say, Aston Villa.
Yeah. I think that just shows how much attacking strength the teams that those players play for have actually faced. Because unless you're facing a threat, you can't repel it. So the teams who are under attack the most, which tend to be your Wolves and your Spurs.
But also, I mean, he's a brick wall, isn't he, Dan Burn? Every headed clearance of a of a ball that's played into the final third, and then Burn heads it back into their half. Yeah. I mean, that's repelling a threat, I guess, on their stats.
On their stats, yeah.
So,
exactly.
Gary, I know it's not your table, but you have showed it to us, but it's rubbish.
It is. Absolutely. But like I say, move on. Kindly, I will do. I must admit, it is another one that comes to a head is this one. We talk about Woltemade in his own talk here. I'm trying to bring this one a little bit because I could adjust this one. Nick Woltemade, as you can see, sits top of the group on this table, has been the line-breaking passes received rate, the percentage of total passes received that successfully break a line. Nick Woltemade, as bad as people say he's played, sits happily at the top of this table. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that one?
Well, I think that proves how badly he's played, because he's been getting the passes. He has been receiving them, line-breaking passes received. And have we seen the output that maybe should have resulted in?
Yeah.
He's not receiving them in the centre-forward position, though, is he? He's receiving them with his back to goal 30 yards out. And sometimes he's knocked over. Sometimes he'll put the ball out to one of the wings. Sometimes he'll knock it straight back to the centre half. He's not receiving them in the right place. Certainly not when he's been playing number 8. In my view. I just think there's a strong argument for him to be playing further up the pitch in his centre forward position. But when he needs somebody alongside him, we've got to be playing 4-4-2.
He did that for 23 games, Ian. And was struggled.
He scored 10 or 12 goals, didn't he?
At the start.
At the start, yeah. So that's what I said. It's the drop off. But again, is that Eddie's format of getting him, to play all of the players that Eddie wants in the squad? And we talk about maybe 13, 14 players that have to start. When you've got Woltemade, who set the world alight when he's first put a black and white shirt on, we know that. I was very impressed. I didn't expect it. The way he played, what I saw wasn't somebody that I saw at the club at all. Wynne was very fond of him. And then I was gobsmacked. But it seems as though with Eddie Howe, he is trying to somehow manipulate the squad to try and fit all of these players into a side. And with the way Woltemade plays, there's sometimes so much isolation between himself and the midfield, especially when they go flat. And I think that's been the biggest problem for me. When they go flat against opposition that they respect, maybe show too much respect to, we have been lax in getting the ball. And what's happened then is Woltemade has dropped virtually into the midfield to collect the ball and be involved in the football. But then we've got nobody in behind that's willing to run past him to get into the half space to cause any danger. I mean, the lads have stayed wide. There's been nobody central. And it's been a bit of a very much of a hit and miss type of season for Woltemade for me. And again, you have to think about the type of in-game management that has been put to the task there. And obviously losing Bruno and J7 in that middle of the park, it's another gamble by Eddie Howe to throw a ball-playing, lad who can. Obviously, he's got a bit of talent around him. We know that. But again, it's that approach to the midfield. The midfield, to me, is your most important part of the football field. Unlocks doors going one way. It also closes them going the other. And unfortunately, the door's been ajar with Woltemade in the middle. That can't do you any favours, boys, when it comes to your mentality towards the approach to the game. Because you just don't know where you're going to be playing and how well you're going to be playing.
Well, I'm accused of always seeing a different game to what everybody else sees.
Yeah, you go to a different game.
so note you that. All I've seen is when Woltemade plays up top, our pressing game disappears altogether. And all of our best results have come when we adopt the Eddie style, if you like, and press. That is how we've been getting our best performances. And they haven't happened for me with Woltemade up top. I think Woltemade is a great player. But the other thing is it was always going to take time to get him, to build him into the team. And we simply haven't had that time yet. We've actually seen, I think, with Ramsey, how he has, because we've had the midfield, playing a midfield without him, there's maybe been more time on the training ground for to get him up to speed, as it were, and we're now seeing we're reaping the rewards of that now. And I just think it's going to take time. And again, there was somebody putting in the chat yesterday, or it might have been in the WhatsApp group, that if you look at Woltemade's career record, historically, he's never done when he's moved clubs. He's never done well in the first season, and always done much better in the second season. And I can see that happening definitely.
What do you think what do you think about playing Chow, Byrne, and Botman?
And again,
having Livramento and Hall as the wing backs, Ramsey and Tonali to give Joe Linton his rest as the two holding midfielders, Woltemade as the third midfielder as a 10, close to Anthony Gordon, who's at number 9, and then Barnes and Langer. That rests Joe Linton, and I think
you've got 12 players there.
You start getting a lot more work.
We're cheating, mate. We've got 12 players. You've got an advantage.
No, I haven't.
You have.
No, I haven't.
You've
got 5. 5 at the back.
Did I put both the wingers on right? I didn't mean that. I meant 2 up front with those 3. No, 5. Those 2, 7.
Get your socks off.
There's still 3 to play.
Yeah.
There's still 3 to play. So you can put your Woltemade at the 10 and then
whoever
Langer and Gordon, let's say, as the
I think Barnes has got
wingers.
To play.
Do you think Barnes has got to play?
I think Barnes has got to play.
Okay. I mean, you could.
I think Langer needs to play,
and then
after he played how he played at Barcelona.
What you could do then, if you're playing big vault in there with Harvey Barnes, you could go with this system of a 3-4-2-1, which is very good actually if you've got the right players in and around it, especially if you play the 2 lads just in front of the mid 2 to make you 4 with your 2 wing backs. in between the space. So Eddie loves triangles. We know that. So if you have them in a box section midfield, the same as the way Chelsea set up, as daft as it looks, what you actually do there is nullify the Chelsea box section. But you've also got the opportunity to bring in the players, especially on the overlap with the two young guns. Thank you, Laura Toon Wifey.
Very telling that Eddie said bluntly, Wissa needs to perform on the pitch. Also, very sorry about having trouble renewing my subscription. Kisses and hugs to you. Well, thank you very much, Laura Toon Wifey. I don't know.
Lovely to have you on board. Thank you ever so much.
I don't think she was talking to you about that one, Win. She wasn't including you in that one.
Yeah, your OnlyFans subscription is unbelievable. I mean, listen, I totally agree with her, though. It was telling that the fact that, it's up to Wissa now. I mean, there's lots of talk about where Newcastle are heading in the summer, and there's lots of talk about attacking players, midfielders, defenders. All over the park, it looks like Eddie Howe and the troops are willing to make several sacrifices. Maybe we see the back of Tino, Tonali on the diagonal, if you like, if that's the rumour mill. Tino, Tonali, and Gordon seem to be the ones potentially going through the door. What do you think then? Because obviously, there's talk now that there's been an offer of contract to Trippier. Trippier wants 2 years. The club have offered him a year. Don't think that's the right way forward, if I'm honest with you. And I've just been having a quick peek of the Premier League squad minute split, if you like. So you've got your pre-peak, so under 24 years of age, peak between 24 and 29, and post-peak 29 and above. And Newcastle sit as 18% of the Newcastle team are what they class as pre-peak, 49% are at peak age, and 33% are past it, according to Opta. Surely that 33% needs to come down.
I don't know, because
naturally it would come down, wouldn't it?
It depends on your where you're playing, because for example, a goalie can play at least 40 without any bother. I would argue that a centre back can probably have a longer career than an inside forward. How many times do you see fantastic forwards drop into midfield when they get past their peak, if you want to use that expression, because the legs aren't there? Rob Lee, prime example. Wayne Rooney to a degree. Because all you lose when you get past your peak is pace, really, isn't it?
Yeah, sharpness.
Go back a bit further, Wayne. You remember Paul Mariner as a centre forward dropping right back to play centre half.
Centre half, yeah, indeed.
Was that Paul Mariner from Ipswich?
Yeah, Ipswich, Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, and Geordie Dan as
Arsenal, in fact, as well, wasn't it?
Volt has scored what AG, Wissa, and Asula have combined this season. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Eddie Howe's trying to fit in a player who has the ability, but it's gambling in positional. So thanks, Geordie, for that one, buddy.
On Wissa, I think Howe really threw down a gauntlet there, by the way.
Well, he did. He said he's fitter now than he's ever been
since
he came.
He's chucked him right under the bus if he doesn't perform now, because he said he's fitter than he's ever been. There are no injury issues, but he has to perform on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think he's got 9 games to start doing that, or maybe we'll take the hit and get some cash in and go and get a different set forward.
Get ready to clip this, because I think Wissa could potentially still get 10 goals this season.
Wow. That is
obviously he's going to have to get he's going to have to get the games to do it. But
you mean if he's loaned back to one of the Congolese First Division teams?
No, I think, and he has another bombshell, that if we decided to go flat out for the rest of the season and play Woltemade and Wissa up top with two wingers. So be playing 4-2-4. I think that might be the way forward for the rest of the season. We've got nothing to lose. Let's give it a try.
I look forward to all of the 4-3-5-4 victories that we would enjoy on that.
Exactly.
Iniesta's made a good point here. Look, our best out of possession game was against Chelsea at home. Woltemade scored 2 and led the press brilliantly. And yeah, I agree. It was a very good point, if I'm honest with you.
Except against Chelsea, we played very well, but we didn't press against Chelsea.
No, but what he's saying,
that's the thing.
It was a case of what we did well against Chelsea was retain the ball when we got it. We played a little bit of football against Chelsea in the first half. It was the second half performance where we did press high up the field where we conceded a crazy goal, where we went 1v1, and obviously Chow made that little slip that allowed João Pedro to go and score. It's all, like I said,
we should have had a penalty just before that, Gary.
Listen, I was just going to say
the bar John Gordon, was exactly the
same.
Knew
that would get wind going
as the bar John Lewis Hall on Wednesday. I mean, just so blatant, utterly ridiculous refereeing decisions.
We've had some awful officiating this season, which hasn't helped Newcastle in their plight. But I mean, listen, we can call it what it is, right? And this is taking away the officiating. Newcastle have still lost 19 points from winning positions, right? So that's not all on the officiating. That's just Newcastle losing when they're being in front. So, for me, there has been a problem defensively. And like I said, sometimes we've played the 5 at the back and it seems as though we are lost a little bit, shape-wise, mentality-wise. They leave it for each other to go and do the job somebody else can do. And they've got to start being a little bit more livelier in the box for me. Late runners. How many times have we seen runners coming in to the back stick again? And it's been exploited because we're all ball watching. We've all moved forward, and again we talk how good Malik Chow have been. Malik Chow has been an absolute steal for me, a bargain, but there's still flaws in his game. Dan Burn, another one. Great on his day, but there's flaws in the game. And at the back, it's to me, you have to have everything. And Kieran Trippier, on trying to get back when he's been bombing forward, he often makes the wrong decision. He'll often go to the ball and leave a player out on the left-hand side a little bit free because he can't get back to them. So again, does that mean there's more pressure on the likes of Malik Chow to cover 2 positions? And that's why now you see a little bit more vulnerability in some of Malik Chow's defensive flaws. There was a question thrown by Jeffo on 90s Mags when he said, why didn't Malik Chow just, when Dani Olmo come through for the penalty, go square at him? Because if you look, his body was open. He was trying to show him, Dani Olmo, down the outside. But again, is it the fact that he is trying
to tackle him?
He's trying to
do that tackle where he just snatches his foot in, the one that took Haaland out of the game and allowed him to bring the ball clear, which needs perfect timing, and he was fractionally out. Olmo moved the ball fractionally further.
Yeah, it was a clever move.
He took the ball off Haaland's toe in the box flawlessly in that game because of his timing. It was
excellent. Yeah, exactly. But he was squared on. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but he was squared on against Haaland, where if you have a look at Dani Olmo, his body was more of open. And for once I agree with Jeffo. But again, is that something that, when I look at it, is that something that he's got in his back of his mind about positioning of Trippier? You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. Sometimes we look at individuals and we don't look at the team around them. And I think there's been a hell of a lot of mistakes because of where we have been in through injuries, and we've played players out of position, which means that it's the rest of the team have to then seem to step up another 5% to cover players out of position. That's only my opinion. And like I say, I've got no pure vision on that. It's just what I've seen during the games. Sometimes it takes the mindset away from their job that they're tasked to do themselves. And like you've absolutely pointed out there, against Haaland, he was square on. He wanted Haaland to make the decision. When Haaland made that decision, he was there, bang. He was through him. Great tackle. Against Dani Olmo, totally different. He was side on, and then he just dangled a leg out, which obviously Dani Olmo went over. It's an interesting one, but for me, this is a very important game. Have you guys got any more? And again, I want to reiterate and apologise to all our viewers that jumped on board with us, and we just couldn't get the sound from the presser this morning for some unknown reason.
He took
They'll all be watching the presser on YouTube with me this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll watch it as well.
Because to be fair, I never heard much of what he said because he was trying to talk about it as well. And I don't think the sound was very good coming from the questions that were getting asked. When you can hear the sound, you'll be able to tell us afternoon.
For all the people who see sort of shares blame and all that, he said about the league form, he said, I think you can safely say this season that the Premier League has not gone to plan. We would love to have done a lot better than we have. We would love to have been more consistent. There have been some good performances in there, but consistency of results has not been there, and our away form has not been strong enough. We've lost too many games. You can label all that at me, and I will take it on the chin. Our plan is to do better. So he's taken full responsibility for the league form. On Miley, on my bingo card.
Borky's next comment is when is he going to deliver his letter of resignation then?
Yeah, exactly.
It was Miley, we were hoping he'd be fit for the Barcelona game, and I don't know that if that has deviated at all. He's not training with a group. He's on grass now, running again and working incredibly hard. But all the feedback I've had from the medical team is that we will have to be careful with this injury, and we don't want it to turn into something a lot more serious. It's gone on longer than anyone had hoped, but the main thing is that he comes back fit.
Yeah, it was an interesting one on Anthony Gordon, though, wasn't it, about availability against Barcelona? That was a really interesting one. Anthony Gordon is back and available for the trip to Chelsea tomorrow. Eddie Howe has defended his failure to start against Barcelona following huge criticism from Alan Shearer and Wayne Rooney. Ant was absolutely willing to play, said Eddie Howe. It was my decision not to start him, given he had been ill in the morning. In consultation with the medical team, I made the decision. So there you go. Like I said, there was a lot of...
He also said, Ant is a winner. He's a real competitor and has that streak to him that all top players need. I can only speak really glowingly of him this year. It hasn't been a straightforward season, but he is in his best mode currently and adapted to a different role really well. There is plenty of pressure and media attention on him, and rightly so, because he's an England international.
Yeah, it's been an interesting...
Chalobah's got another opportunity to get a penalty awarded against him for fouling Gordon tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, for me, that is exactly the mentality and approach that they have to... interesting one from Geordie Dan. What dirt does Anthony Gordon have on War Eddie? Yeah, talk about sun shining out of one's bottom. He's an interesting one. And there was another one. There you go. Iniesta is saying someone need to ask Eddie why he selects 3 keepers on the bench rather than academy players. And again, I think that's been something that's been widely criticised of War Eddie this season. The lack of trying to fled some of the young uns into the squad. There's been games where they have the opportunity to have a look at them, to see if there is an opportunity going forward. And there's Trolls. I'm still how out. He focused too much on the Cups and too little on the Premier League, in my opinion. Matt Francis is saying, shifting blame off the players, though, who do the same things, make same mistakes. Not the way to go. So, interesting one from Matt. Iniesta saying that he's not a fan of Roger or Louise Taylor. His smile gets wiped out quickly when those two speak. Well, you were saying a similar thing. It's been an interesting, like I say, presser, if you like I say, not too much regarding Chelsea. Matt Francis is saying pundits like Danny Murphy saying our centre-backs aren't of a high standard. That's mainly why we are leaking goals. Again, you've got to look at it from, especially Danny Murphy. But you're playing in decent teams. It's not so bad. Liverpool teams and stuff like that. Our back three, if you look at Botman, Chow, and Byrne, are a good set of standard Premier League players. They're not the world's best. Nobody's ever going to say that. But on their day, they are a formidable three. Throw in Fabian Shaw, who again, we look at what he can do on his day when available. Worthy potentially of another 12 months, maybe as a backup with that little bit of experience. Again, always seems to be a player, doesn't really get old, Fabian Shaw. He just seems to be the same player as we've seen several seasons now. He doesn't really, again, high bars, low bars. Is it Newcastle's time now to start shifting the mentality towards more ball-playing defenders, goalkeepers? Because that, to me, is the problem. We are very much a defender when it comes to the tackle, when it comes to the height. But in this type of modern-day football, where you're looking at European football, it's more ball players rather than tacklers that they want these days. And if you can get the best of both worlds, then obviously, good luck on that one. I like Malik Chow because I think he's one that can play. But again, he has got vulnerabilities. Does Newcastle need to start focusing on that?
Neither Botman into Holland or Chow into Germany have made it into their international sides.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Dan Burn being an international with England is something that we would never have guessed until it actually happened. So
and
Murphy's probably right. We probably haven't got the high. No, he hasn't. He hasn't. I like all of them. But Murphy's probably right in that there are 6 or 7 teams that can pay much higher wages who can go and cherry pick the best centre halves. What we need to do is find those the way Bournemouth have done, Brighton have done. Go and find them in Europe for 35 million. And let's see what we've got in a year and a half's time. Like, hopefully Chow will improve and get into the Germany squad. Botman probably would have done the same for Holland if he hadn't had his knee knackered 3 or 4 times. Murphy's probably right. I don't think that's why we're giving stupid goals away, though. I think, what is that? Pope's responsible for quite a bunch of them. Ramsdale's thrown a few in. But people do make mistakes. You can't blame Chow for making that slip when Pedro ran away to score equaliser.
Somebody's made a mistake.
Somebody's made a mistake, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter where it comes from. I mean, Trippier has made several, hasn't he? That's led to a goal. And that's what I said. Somewhere along the line, I just think when you're winning a game,
watch Man City's back 4 against Real Madrid on Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely. Wide open.
They look like the Keystone Cops.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You've got footballing brains then, haven't you? Ball over the top. Again, you've got pace, somebody who can control the ball. You look at when we broke against Barcelona over the top with Asula, some of his first touches just allowed the defenders to get back in him. Against Manchester City, the one thing that Manchester City were facing is every ball that was controlled out of feet was in front of the player, wasn't under the feet. Yeah. So there's a massive difference in quality, and that to me has to be addressed as well for European competitions because, again, you cannot afford to let teams like Barcelona off the hook when you're dominating the game. And that for me is where, I think Newcastle have been at a loss this season, especially Premier League form. 19 points dropped from winning positions for me is criminal. Pope this season has probably made more mistakes in goal than ever since he's been at the club, in my eyes. So again, this is going all the way through the team. It's not just one area Newcastle seem to fail. In the past, what Newcastle have is when they've made the mistakes, Pope has been the one that's got a lot of these players out of jail. It just hasn't happened this season.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think of Darwin Nunez? He's apparently available. Come back. I think he'd be great. I don't know. I just kept seeing him score against Newcastle. The Liverpool fans thought he needed way too many shots to be able to score.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he's always looked bloody excellent against us.
The one that, but it came off his arse, didn't he? It was pure luck that against, Botman. It bounced off his arse and went past Botman.
That was the hard bit, yeah. The 25-yard shot from right into the bottom corner, that was the easy part.
Two of them.
The bit off his arse, that was the lucky bit, was it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Listen, there is a couple. How are we doing for predictions, Win? Because Ron's in the chat. Have we got Ron's?
Yeah, I've got Ronnie's Turnbull's 3-2, yeah.
Fabulous. Well done. Anybody else that we're missing before we say goodbye? Because I have got an appointment to go to. So, where are we? Nuno is blessed with physicality, but his finishing is atrocious, says Iniesta. Again, no, says Matt Francis, got Nunez. We almost signed him, but we went Liverpool.
We got Isaac instead.
We got Isaac instead, yeah, indeed. I mean, it is crazy the way it is.
I tell you what, I don't know how much does it say how much he's going for? If you could get him for 30, 40 million, I might have a go.
What I thought about it was about that, because I think he's, out of favour. He went to, did he go to Saudi? Wherever that team is, they've got a different policy or something now. So they want rid. For Ivan Toney, who might also be like that.
Well, I would have Ivan Toney, yeah, definitely.
Let's be honest, they would be on they would be in a different parish compared to having to choose between Wissa and Asula.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
Asula can do that.
I think it's like I said, we all had the opportunity to, DCL. Everybody was saying no, and yet, at Leeds, two things have happened. He scored goals and he stayed fit, and it's something that obviously everybody was questioning his fitness and everything else. It just proves sometimes, it's luck.
If we'd seen him in the summer, there would have been ructions on.
Yeah. But look, we signed Wissa, and then he gets crocked. There's another player whose injury career has been fantastic.
Yeah, never been injured before. Saints for us. Boom.
Bang. Out. And that's what I said. And
Harvey Barnes exactly the same. So there's an example. Look, Harvey Barnes, we signed him, lost him for virtually the full season.
Turf toe injury, something that you very rarely hear about.
And look at him now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Right then, gentlemen, it's coming to 20 to 11 on this Friday morning. Like I say, apologies for the spoiler regarding the presser because it didn't go down very well. We could hear it perfectly, but that's because we are special. No, we're not. We are literally, again, we're going to have to watch it back because, like I say, I missed so much of it trying to get you guys involved. So apologies for just listening to my dulcet tones and Ian's this morning without listening to the beautiful Eddie's voice. Singing Wham would have been great, but obviously that's Jason Tyndall's job. Well, anyway, have a lovely rest of the Friday, whatever you're doing. And don't forget, we are here first thing tomorrow with the build-up to the match before I come on board around about 4:30. And then we will go through the Chelsea game, kick by kick, to the best of my ability anyway. But I would love to say thank you so much to Laura Toon Wifey for the super chat and also Geordie Dan for jumping on board. Thank you all so much. And again, apologies My deepest
Can I just
apologies. Go on, mate.
add, Gary? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Michael and I are going to do a live ratings program
Woo!
after you finished summing up the Chelsea game, which we've never done before. We've always recorded
Right.
them. So we're going to try and do a live one for an hour and a quarter from 8:45 till 10.
After the reaction.
After the reaction, me and
There you
Michael
go.
are going to come on and do more reacting, basically,
Well,
by
exactly.
saying who we
Yeah.
thought was good and bad
What's
and who was
Yeah.
indifferent.
Exactly.
Excellent.
That's what. Great for the
We're
members.
looking
Like
for
I say.
always love giving 8s and 9s rather than the 4s and 5s that we've had to give
Well,
on some games.
let's just hope
There
it
would have
can
been a few of
continue.
those on Wednesday.
Yeah, there was a few high scores on Wednesday. It made me smile all the way. So look, again, great show for those that are members, and if you ain't a member, then try if you can afford to do so to become one. Thank you so much to Ian, Super Mac McKay, and the mighty Win. Like I say, bless him, he was trying to work his magic in the background to get the sound on board, but didn't happen. And like I say, maybe that's something we need to look at going forward. But until tomorrow, well,
And
are you
it's
guys
Friday
no?
night on the Toon
Yeah.
Army.
Oh, you're doing the Friday night. You're not doing the town hall tonight, then. Just the Friday night
No
show.
town hall, no.
You're just doing the Friday night show. So, like I say, get your dancing shoes on, ready for these guys later on tonight to play some music and the dulcet tones of Chrissy's singing and Win singing in the background. So, like I say, until then, who are the lads?
Get ready for the night.
Lasses and bands, you two should have said. But anyway, we'll go with that. See you on the next
I
one.
deliberately don't.
How
Fair
are the
play.
lads?
Poodle
There
sick.
you go. There you go. See you later. Have a good Friday.
Ciao, ciao.